Pregnant woman misses flight and meets stranger who changes her life. Relationships can be a very big hurdle for any person. There are good relationships full of compromises, and then there are bad relationships which can lead to difficult decisions. For Samantha, it was the latter, as her relationship with her boyfriend wasn't exactly one that was ripe for bringing a baby into the world. She had already been planning to leave, but this was the final push she needed to leave in order to protect herself and her baby. Samantha then moved in with her mother in Arkansas to try and get some time and space to consider her next move and what to do with the sudden pregnancy. Eventually, she decided that adoption would be the best route for the both of them. But just as she found the perfect agency, something else threw her plans off course. Although Samantha loved her mother dearly, her mother's house wasn't what she had in mind for raising a baby. She didn't believe the household was fit for an infant, but she was starting to feel that she was running out of options. The emotional roller coaster that the pregnant woman was experiencing was only enhanced further by all of the dilemmas in her personal life. And while she had hoped she'd be basking in the glow of pregnancy, she started to become discouraged and glum. It was then that she turned to an old source of relief. Samantha had harbored a passion for video games since she was 15. It was always what she turned to when she needed to escape from real life. For her, gaming always felt like a home away from home. Playing online also exposed her to all kinds of people she perhaps wouldn't normally interact with. Through multiplayer gaming, she started talking to a young man named Tom. For months, the two spent hours chatting, laughing, and getting to know each other over the internet. By then, he knew all about Samantha's situation, and although she was 8 months pregnant, he pleaded for her to come visit him in North Carolina. But would she accept? With all that's going on, Samantha felt something in her gut telling her that she should accept the offer and go see the young man who had been such a source of joy through all her worries. So, without further ado, she booked a flight and was soon heading off. However, things wouldn't exactly go according to plan. After checking and double-checking everything, Samantha found herself stuck in traffic, and though she rushed to check in, she realized that she had missed her flight. It was already rather late and she was tired and frustrated, but luckily, Tom was there to help and he was able to make some calls to get her the next available standby spot. However, she would never know that this incident would change her life forever. When she finally found a seat, she found herself next to a delightfully bubbly woman in her 40s named Temple. The two started chatting, and Samantha found comfort in getting to know Temple. Although it was only an hour flight, the two women laughed and bonded, forging an instant friendship. But while they had an enjoyable flight together, Samantha wasn't expecting what happened when they got off the plane. Tom was right there waiting for her, and he had even booked a car to comfortably take her to his house so that they could get to know each other better. It was also there that Tom admitted that he had liked her from the start, and though she was pregnant, he wanted to form a relationship with her. He vowed to treat her right and also help her with the baby, causing Samantha to be completely overwhelmed. She had just broken off from a less than stellar relationship, so she didn't know if she wanted another one so soon. However, this was Tom, a person she had known for a while, and a person she got along with so well that she decided to give it a chance. However, her plans were once again foiled when just 3 days after staying with Tom, she started having contractions. As the reality that the baby was coming struck her, the two frantically tried to decide whether Samantha had time to go home. Time was running out though, and she had little choice. Ultimately, Samantha had no time to go home. Regardless, she wasn't allowed on a plane at that stage in her pregnancy. Her contractions were growing stronger, and although Tom offered support and encouragement, They had to rush her to the hospital, but there was still a bigger issue. Having given birth out of state, the medical staff wasn't necessarily aware of her situation. To make matters more distressing, the day after giving birth, Samantha was starting to feel overwhelmed and lonely as Tom had to go to work. Despite the joy of seeing her healthy baby, Samantha admitted that she still didn't feel as much like a mother as she thought she should, and her desire to put the baby up for adoption only got stronger. So, she called her mother, but her unwavering insistence on raising the child only further upset Samantha. It was then, with tears running down her face, that a name popped in her mind: Temple. With shaking hands, she gave her friend a call and couldn't have been happier when the woman immediately arrived at the hospital. The two women caught up on what had occurred in the few days since their flight, but that wasn't all. As the medical staff brought the baby into the room, Samantha asked Temple if she wanted to feed him. With trembling hands, Temple agreed. As she held the child and lifted the bottle to his mouth, Samantha had an idea, but she hoped it wasn't completely off the mark. She remembered their conversation on the plane and how the woman had always wanted kids, but had reservations about the process. But now Samantha had an idea of how to make her dream come true and how to solve her own issue with the adoption process. Samantha was dreading the call to her mother, but she knew that she had to inform her of her decision. Unfortunately, her mother didn't take the news very well. Her mother felt upset and betrayed. Life again seemed uncertain for Samantha until she was pleasantly surprised yet again. Although they barely knew each other, Temple once again was at Samantha's side. Samantha was blown away when Temple helped her make living arrangements and offered to help financially until Samantha could get her feet on the ground. It was then that Samantha started talking to Temple and telling her about the adoption process of her little one. With an emotional talk, she then asked if Temple would like to be the one whom the baby would call mother. Temple was overcome with emotion and shock, but she ultimately agreed when Samantha assured her that she had always wanted to give the baby for adoption. Now, the three people's lives had changed forever, and little Vaughn, the name chosen by Temple, is happy with his new mother. As it turns out, Samantha and her boyfriend Tom are still together and going strong. She lives only an hour's drive from Temple and Vaughn and can visit them often. Actually, Samantha still has a fairly active role in their lives. Samantha regularly attends events in Vaughn's life, such as birthday parties. Samantha, Temple, and Vaughn even have pictures of all three of them together, and they have accepted that this is how their slightly unconventional family will be. Their amazing story understandably attracted a lot of media attention, but there's still more to tell. Their lives have settled somewhat, and they have the time to reflect on the incredible turn of events that led them to one another. Samantha and Temple are now thinking about writing a book together about the life-changing missed connection flight that sealed their destinies. In the meantime, they've found an adorable, heartfelt way to document everything and encourage each other along the way.